Welcome back to Locker Room Dads, hosted by myself, Pat O'Donnell, Green Bay Packers punter, and brewery owner Josh Brinzo. Super fired up for this guest here today. It is a new teammate of mine who was drafted by the Packers in 2019. He hits harder than a Mack truck. Average human being can't hang with this man. But most importantly, he is a locker room dad. So, Ty, welcome to the show.
I appreciate that. Proud locker room dad. Glad I made the qualifications for this podcast.
We are happy to have you on.
You're in, man. Well, you're 3 months in, so you are a locker room dad.
3 months. I just barely made it, but I'm in. I'm all in.
No, I'm glad that we got to arrange this, man. I know we talk in a locker room, so it's nice to talk on air about dad stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
So let's jump into Green Bay life, man. So you got your family is not actually here with you, right? So they're back in Texas.
Nope, they're back in Houston, Texas.
So you are a Texas boy.
Yes, sir.
You went to TCU, right?
Hey, born and raised, man. Always Texas.
What is that? What is that mascot? What is the angry peace sign? Is that what it is?
The angry peace sign? Yeah, it's pretty much. If you have to describe anyone how to make it, you say make a peace sign and then make it angry. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. But the good old horned frogs, man. Big misconception is they're not actually frogs; they're lizards. So if you didn't already know that, there you go. And they shoot blood out of their eyes.
They do shoot blood out of their eyes.
They do shoot blood out of their eyes. I haven't seen that in person, but apparently that's a thing. So pretty exciting.
The Baylor boy is just cringing right now.
Yeah, it was tough, but I'm glad to have you on.
I know. When I found out you were a Baylor guy, a Waco, Texas guy, I was like, a little questionable. Almost got off, but figured I told Pat I'd do it. Had to see this one through.
Oh, I love it.
But let's talk about how you split time with your wife, right? So she's back. I'm sure you guys have family. Mm-hmm. I know probably a lot of people listening, they don't really understand too much about the NFL life. They probably think we buy houses every which way, and sometimes they come up with us and sometimes they don't. But if you could just talk a little bit about your situation, maybe it's family, maybe they're just closer for the baby right now, trying to get as many hands as they can for your wife, or is that the case for you guys?
That's kind of what it is. I mean, so my wife's family's from Houston. They're down in Friendswood, which is technically, if you're going from where we're at in Galveston's the beach area, they're close to Galveston, kind of south, real South Houston. But yeah, she kind of decided to stay back just because we have all the baby stuff back there in that area, and of course there are more hands with her mom that has a really flexible job down there, and her dad of course as well, and but just having that support system is good, especially whenever I'm gone for chunks of the day, which it's been good, you could say, for me, because even though it is very boring, I wish they were here. I have more reason to spend more time at the facility, getting extra treatment, taking care of my body, watching more film, ways that I can be productive. But it's hard, man. It's hard not having him here, especially as young as he is. He's getting to that point, as y'all know, having had kids already at the stage, that he's starting to develop a personality. He's smiling. He's starting to try to talk all over the place. And I make sure my wife sends me multiple pictures and videos every day. That way I can feel like I'm there. But it's not the same. It's hard. But get to go back home tomorrow, get there for the weekend.
All right.
She's supposed to be coming up with me the next week and be around for a week. And so I'm really excited about that, to have multiple days with both of them.
No, that's great. That's amazing insight, because a lot of people don't really know the struggles with families and playing in different states where you actually have homes and things like that in off season. Mm-hmm. When is she officially moving up? Is she going to come up with you after the summer break we have?
So, obviously after OTAs, so I'm flying back and forth at this point. I have a rental property here. I know you had asked about questions. Definitely can't buy a house here. Could. That would not be very smart. Just with the hassle of having a home ownership, potentially having to sell it, all that stuff, it's just not even worth it.
Yep.
But yeah, so once OTAs is done, we have the 5 to 6 week period before camp starts, and I'll be back in Texas full time. And then once camp comes around, typically she's always been with me for camp. Because she loves going out to practice, and I want her out there, especially now having Paxton. Because I loved it. I love seeing guys when their wife and kids would come out onto the field after one of our practices, and they'd be hanging out with them, playing catch with them, or just holding them. I was like, man, that'd be cool to have my kids someday out at practice. And so I know he's going to be around for at least some of them. I don't know. We haven't decided yet how long, if she's going to be there the whole time or what, because those are long days. Camp is long days.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's going to be around for at least part of it. I know for sure.
No, that's great. That was really one of my biggest accomplishments. Last year, I was able to have my daughter at practice, and I always looked up to those guys. I was like, man, it would be so cool to have, my kid at practice. I mean, they probably don't know what's going on, but like just having the memory of the pictures is like amazing.
Oh, I'm telling. I know. I can't wait to have that. That's just, and that'll be something that even though my son, his name's Paxton, by the way, even though he won't remember it, I mean, it's just gonna be something that we'll be able to, like you said, look back on through the pictures, and I'll be able to remember it. Kind of instilling him that, hey, you were around for this. You don't remember it, but you were around.
So you had your kid before camp too, so you at least got to be there in the delivery room, right?
Oh yeah, it worked out perfectly. Obviously, we wanted to go to the Super Bowl, and we had a chance. Didn't happen. But he was born February 8th, which I don't remember exactly when the Super Bowl was, but it was like this 8th, 9th? It was
in that window.
It was right around there. And if, the due date originally was not going to be till the 22nd, so we came a couple weeks early.
Wow.
But yeah, that would have been tough. So it was almost like a blessing in disguise that we didn't make it, because I would have hated to miss the birth of, my first child, and so it was pretty awesome being in that delivery room and just kind of getting to experience, how crazy that whole process is. And it's like, man, for me, like, if you don't believe in God, like, how could you not, whenever you see a baby just born, and then the mom being able to get up and walk out of the hospital 2 days or a day later. It's just, in the way they develop, it's insane. But it was such a cool experience. To your point, yes, it worked out perfect timing. I got to be there and be around all the time for the first couple months until I had to come up here.
I love that. I think a lot of people listening don't realize too, like, I've heard some fans go, oh man, he's missing a game for his kid. Like, this is such a big game. And you're talking about the Super Bowl. Dude, it doesn't matter. You're a dad. Like, you're becoming a dad. That's bigger than the Super Bowl. Like, that's your kid. Like,
absolutely.
What a huge moment. You don't want to miss that.
Man, of course not. And there would be a way. We would have found a way. If it came down to it, the game, I would have paid for a private jet to fly, see it, come right back. I would have made both. It would have happened, or I'd have been like calling my wife, babe, hold it for a few more hours.
Sorry, yeah.
Go lay down.
That would have been kind of crazy. But no, I feel like it's hands down. Being there for your kid is more important. I mean, there's always a chance to go to another Super Bowl. It's not easy, and very few people get multiple chances, but I would rather not miss my son's birth. I mean, my first child's birth. I mean, any child's birth. It's just, it's crazy.
So speaking of the birth, were you and your wife the only two in the delivery room, or did you guys have family members with you?
Well, that was all we could have. They're still having rules on the amount of people that can visit. So there was there was one person that could have a band, basically, to be allowed into that section of the hospital where the waiting mothers were and babies and such. And so I was the only one that was allowed to have that band and be there. So it was kind of gave the family members updates over text, and it's all you could do with pictures and everything. But I was surprised too. How they used to do, where the baby would be born, they'd take the baby and they'd go put it behind the glass, and you'd basically look, and there'd be a room with a bunch of babies kind of sitting in it, right?
Right.
Glass, like, that's mine. Wow. But I was kind of expecting that, but they ended up doing it where the baby was born, and he just laid right next to my wife, Sydney, right next to her, in his own little kind of bassinet thing, and slept with us that night. And I was surprised they did that. I loved it though. I was like, he's around.
Oh yeah.
Cool. But I was not expecting that.
That caught me off guard too, because when Billy was born, they pick her up, they check her, and then they just put her next to mom, and you're like, okay, I thought she was going somewhere, so I guess we're in here. That's cool.
Like, so she's good. He's good. It's all right. There's nothing else we need to be doing. He just lays there, First time I had to swaddle him and stuff too. I was so gentle. Which, did you notice? You were probably being so gentle with him. And then the nurse comes in, she's throwing the baby around, doing all these things. I'm like, she's like, is he okay? She's like, no, they're tougher than you think. I'm like, oh gosh.
And their heads
hurt them. Yeah, just throwing them around. I was like, wow, hey, you know what you're doing.
I think it's just the fact that we go in with this image of how it's going to go. and you see all the movies and everything. And it was the exact same way with me. Like I thought it was going to be people rushing in the room, like, all right, it's time, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And it was like very calm. There were like two doctors that came in, and yeah, as soon as the baby popped out, I was fully expecting them to go into like another room for, check them out and do whatever they had to do. But I mean, I guess I'm thankful that they didn't have to take the baby away, because maybe that be like a problem, or like preemies and things like that when they have to be separated from the mother. So
exactly. Yeah. So you'd rather not have to. It's kind of funny you say that, how it was a calm process. It was ours was actually kind of chaotic. It made it kind of fun because, again, my wife was a couple weeks early. And so we were going there, and she was like, she had been dilated like a small amount, probably like 2 or 3 centimeters, let's say, for like probably 12 hours, and it hadn't really progressed. And then she eventually got to 3 to 4. And then, so we were kind of like wondering what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden her water just burst while one of the nurses was just checking her. Oh. And so it burst, but it normally doesn't just happen right away. Right. But within like a couple minutes, it was like happening. And so the nurse was like, hey, it's happening. Yeah, doctor, where you at? Doctor ran in. She's like, all right, are we doing this? You ready? I was like, what? It just like went from 0 to
you had like,
real quick.
I'm actually jealous. You had the legit experience. That was
the whole thing, even going to the hospital, because it was early. We didn't have a backpack. My wife was going through contractions. We were like, we need to go. And I just had surgery on my wrist that morning. And so I'm running around holding my arm up, trying to pack a bag, yelling downstairs, hey, what do you need? In between contractions, she's yelling, get my black leggings. Like,
oh my gosh.
It was chaos. It was fun. It was like literally like what you see in movies almost, which is I kind of liked. It was fun.
That's absolutely the exact opposite of how ours went. Like, they induced my wife, and when her water broke, we didn't even know. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna break your water. She's like, okay. I'm like, yeah, so your water's broken. I thought it was always like a big scene, and it was nothing. So it was the exact opposite.
Yeah, it was fun. We got the full whammy, that's for sure.
Dang. So you didn't even have time like in the room, because we got there essentially a day and a half before it happened. And then we were watching movies and like passing time, talking, telling stories. So you didn't even have like any of that moment. Like everything happened so quick and abruptly.
Well, we had time. So we got there, let's say the 7th at like 10 o'clock at night, probably. And so we got there, and we ended up she was connected to all the monitors, right? And we laid there. Nurses kept checking on us, but we ended up staying the night there. And he wasn't born until 11:48 on the 8th. So we were there about a little over 12 hours before he was born.
Okay.
But the process of like whenever the monitoring actually got to something was actually happening, like legit, like moving towards giving birth. I mean, that wasn't, that was quick. That window of time, by the time the water broke, baby was born like 45 minutes, like 45 minutes later. Like it was like quick. It was awesome.
I'm just envisioning like you checking into the hospital, like with your wrist like all casted up, and they're like, we're here to check in. You're like trying to hold all this stuff. You have way more stuff than you need to.
Checking in for who? You're probably need to go somewhere else.
You're in the wrong wing.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was, and of course we woke up that morning, at like 4 something to get to the hospital by 5:30 in the morning for my surgery. So it had been a long day.
Oh my gosh.
Long day. And I didn't even have any pain. I didn't take any pain pills. I was trying not to. So it was like, I had to sleep with it on the, little cots, right? That probably move out about this far. Yeah. You can barely fit your shoulders on. I'm laying with my arm like propped up best I can. I didn't sleep at all the first night. Not even a little bit. After the baby was born though, I slept so good. And I made this mistake that I'm sure every dad makes at some point. I slept so hard, right? And the night when the baby's born, the nurses come in like every hour, it seems like, checking on the baby, checking on mom, all that stuff, right? And every time they came in, I remember like vaguely waking up and immediately passing back out. So I got about 6 strong hours of sleep. And I woke up and, I'm sitting, my wife's looking like, she just gave birth, right? She's just tired and hurting and stuff. And I was like, I made this mistake. I was like, man, I slept so hard. And just basically, she was like, oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you slept hard. I didn't sleep at all. I was
oh, man.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to rub that in.
big mistake. So all the new dads out there or expecting dads, do not make that mistake.
If something good happens to you, just keep it to yourself. That's great. Good for you, man. But
it's all about mom.
It's all about mom. That's
So I want to ask you this question about the name when the birth certificate comes and you like have that moment with your wife and like you're really solidifying the name. Did you guys have the name picked out for Paxton, or were you guys kind of going back and forth and kind of like a game time decision? Like, how did it work for you?
Yeah, so leading up to it, we already had a girl's name picked out even before the gender reveal, right? We already had a girl's name picked out. But with boys, we had come up with a few. We had like Paxton, Rowan, and Micah. Those were kind of the three that we had. And they were just more so names because we liked them. Micah was a biblical name, so we thought that was cool. But the other ones, we thought were cool names. But it came down to when he was actually born between Rowan and Paxton. And so it just was kind of a thing like, all right, hey, we're looking at him. What do you think? You know, at first I really said, I was like, Rowan? Because I kind of like the name like Roe as a nickname. I was like, Rowan? But then my wife was like, I don't know. I feel like he looks like a Paxton. And I was like, hey, I'm all about that too. Let's go, Paxton. I was like, Paxton it is.
That's a real thing, though. Like, you have to wait until it comes out. And it has to fit.
I couldn't determine that before for whatever reason. It's just like neither of the names stood out enough to be like, yeah, that's it. But I was more like, yeah, I got to look at him first. I got to see him and say it to him. Because I'd been trying to say it to her stomach, right? And it's not the same thing as saying it to someone's face, you know?
Right.
You got to see if you get a response. Say one of
Yeah, exactly. He like somehow opens his eyes, you know? I'm like, yep, that's it. That's the one.
We know.
Oh, but yeah, now the rest is history. Paxton. And it felt weird to say it. Like the first month, I'd say, just referring to him as like my son or saying his name because it just feels foreign. You know, first time having a kid, and then just like it's a completely new person. It's like you're starting a relationship with someone you just like met, right? But it's just so unique to them. It's like you're creating that identity for them. And so it felt weird the first month, but now it's just like rolls off the tongue. Yeah, my son Paxton, you know, I don't even think about it now.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm hoping all the dads out there have some type of like short list. Always go in with a short list. Like, don't be like, I'll figure it out. Like, because you essentially have to figure out that day, right? You can't leave the hospital without.
Yeah, that way they can have something on file. Yeah, because you got to go to the doctor's appointment the next day, and they got to have something in the records for a name. You know?
Right.
You could always go change it, but nah, it's kind of weird. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Josh.
I was to say after you had your son, I was nervous to leave the hospital, but I also wanted to get the hell out of there because I was like, I'm ready to get home. What was leaving the hospital like, though? I mean, your new dad, fresh baby. How you feeling?
The car ride home, they try to instruct you on how to put the baby in the car seat. You got the whole safety briefing. And
dude, you should have saw me trying to even get the car seat connected to the vehicle. I was like, why is this so difficult? I was sitting here trying to like figure out how to plug it in, you know, the little straps, right? No, that was pretty easy. But then for some reason, like, it looked way more complicated than it was. I made it way more complicated than it needed to be. And it took me probably about 20 minutes to get the car seat set up. And then I don't even think I had it fully set up by the time we pulled up to pick him up. I asked the nurse, hey, can you make sure I got this right before we drive off? Because it feels a little loose. But, man, driving off the whole time, I was, like, obviously trying to go be real cautious. And my wife was like, be careful, please. Yeah. Be careful. And I was like, oh, no, I am. Don't worry. I'm just 2 hands on the wheel. You know, what is it, like 10 and 2? You know, I'm just sitting here, like, peeking at everything, all the blind spots. Yeah, but pulling up to the house the first time we had our dogs there, too, I was like, man, it did one of those kind of little introductions, you know, and it was just crazy thinking once we, like, finally got settled in at the house, like, okay, this is life now. That realization that nothing's going to be the same, it was just kind of hit you. It was like, all right, wow.
Like you and your wife walk in as 2, and then you're leaving with 3.
Yeah.
You know, like forever. Like
I know.
The last time you ever walk into a place 2, and then you always have 3.
I know. Yeah. It is a very, very cool. It was like kind of scary at the same time. It was like, wow, like what is this going to look like? But now it's gotten to the point that, of course, even me being here in Green Bay by myself right now, it's like I don't want a life without him. Like I couldn't even picture a life without him. You know? Like I just want to be with him and be able to instill things into him and just love on him. You know, it's like everything that your parents tell you, like, oh, you'll understand when you have a kid someday. It's like that stuff's real. Like, yeah, I do.
For sure. I think it's important for people to hear that too, because as football players always build us up. Like we have like no soul, like we're just like guys that just bang heads for a living. Like it's nice to hear that like you do want to be a father figure. And this is me leading into the next question of how like you're going to raise your son. Do you want him to follow in your footsteps to be like this NFL superstar? Or are you going to kind of like let him find his way? Like, how do you think you're going to parent?
Well, obviously, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want him to kind of follow in my footsteps, because that's kind of what I pride myself to do with my dad. Like my dad played quarterback, and like he went to Howard Payne, so small Division II school at the time, and then he played in Italy professionally for a year, and then got injured and was done. But I was like, thought my dad was my idol. I wanted to be like him, right? And so I know that he loved so much being able to watch me play, and because I was playing really well, I was always like growing up the star on the team, right? And it was kind of like just fun for him, like just being able to be part of that. That's my boy kind of thing. So personally, yes, I would absolutely love. It doesn't have to be football. I think it'd be cool to be football just because that's what I know best. But even if it's baseball, basketball, something, I just want him to find something that he's passionate about. I would just hope it's a sport. Ideally, as a parent, I would love sports. I would just hope that, which I feel like he's going to be wired to be in sports, because like even my wife was a All-American volleyball player at Dallas Baptist. Like it's gonna be in his blood to play, to be competitive at least. So
great genetics.
Whatever that is, I just want to be able to then support him and just help him be the best at it. And so I'm looking forward to that. But yes, I do kind of hope that it's football, or baseball or something. I think that'd be really, really cool just to be alongside him.
He could play anywhere but Baylor.
Anywhere but Baylor. I'd let it slide, if it was the right situation, but only if it's perfect. It has to be perfect.
Perfect. Like me as the dad has to be the offensive coordinator, son's gonna be the quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that.
We're running my scheme.
What is like the biggest obstacle that you and your wife had to face so far as parents? Like, has there been one thing? Maybe it's the distance, like you being able to, not stay connected, but being able to be there for your wife right now. I'm sure she has a lot of help and things like that, but I think that is one of the hardest things, to be separated like from your family, especially being so fresh into it, of like how you just deal with that. I mean, I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth or not, but I'm just.
Yeah, I would say, obviously distance is hard, especially when, let's say, you're familiar with like love languages, right? So like both of our love languages, like physical touch, that's like one of them, right? And just being like hugging, cuddling, that kind of stuff, holding
like
hands.
Babies.
Like, so when you have a relationship, but that's one of your love languages, but you're not in person, it's like, it's not the same, right? So it's hard to try to, continually to make sure you're showing that affection, that love, while at distance at the same time. So that's obviously a challenge. Then, of course, there's communication. Right. It's like, okay, we both have different views a little bit on kind of what we want, how we want to raise our kid. Of course, he's like 3 months old, so there's not a whole lot we're really teaching him right now. But it could be like little things, like where you want to, set their items, or when do you think it's okay to let them keep crying, or you need to pick him up and console him, if, let's say I'm more of like, okay, he's okay. We know he's not hungry. He doesn't have a dirty diaper. Let him kind of cry it out a little bit. While my wife's more like, no, let's pick him up. I don't want him crying, so it's like finding the fine line, like meeting in the middle of okay, what is enough pushing him, or kind of like making him trying to be more independent, versus where do we need to be consoling him? So it's kind of like things like that, that's probably, and it's not even like a big challenge, but it's, I'm sure, something that all parents face, all new parents, because they're like, okay, what is our styles, and that's something you're constantly, never going to see eye to eye on everything, but it's communicating and just figuring it out, being on the same page, because it's for the best interest of your kid. It's not just selfishly what you want, it's what's best for them.
Yeah, I think that's a hard one too, because you say ahead of time how you're going to do it, and then when you actually have the kid, everything changes, because it's like you're meeting the kid, you're learning how they react, you're learning how your wife reacts. Everything's kind of all on the fly, and everything that you thought kind of goes out the window. Now you're learning the way that works.
Yeah, exactly. Which I will tell you right now, I don't care if it works 100% of the time. The whole putting the phone in their hands, watching a TV screen, that is something I will be fighting for as long as the day as the day is long. What is that saying, right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I think we're kind of both on the same page with that too, which is good, because otherwise that'd be trouble if one person is like, no, I don't want them just being like drowned out with just a phone all the time. They cry every time they cry. Because if the other person was like, no, I'm just going to do it all the time. I don't know. I feel like that's a big one to be on the same, especially with nowadays the technology and how that's kind of shoved in a lot of kids' faces just to keep them quiet. Like, man, that's going to be, I'm just glad we're on the same page with that one. That's big.
It's got to be a time and a place. So we're at that age right now with Palmer. She actually can't sit still. Like Josh's daughter loves Disney movies, and I'm actually sometimes jealous because I wish that Palmer could sit there for like 20 minutes and just like watch a show. But she's running around the house, like she's playing with like the balls around, like she has this little basketball hoop, like she loves playing, and which is amazing. But I think now, if you introduce it too early, they become almost accustomed or stagnant with it when you do give it to them. But there's going to be times, man, when you go on a car ride, you're just wishing.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. Trust me. I'm talking about like if you're at a restaurant and you got to put a phone in front of your hand to watch and have them watch a show.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm like trying to make them social, you know, but like, yeah, road trips or like, I'm all about Disney movies myself. So I'm going to be excited to have my kid, if he loves watching, let's say, you know, he wants to watch Cars, that's his thing. Heck yeah, you want to watch Cars? Let's watch Cars, you know? I just don't want to be like where it's like, you're caught in a situation where he has to have a phone. So if you're in public and your kid starts crying because they want the phone so bad, you give them the phone. You know, I'm like, I'm just going to try not to be doing that. But yeah, I'm not going to say you can't have technology. At some point, they're going to have to know how to use it. You know, it is what it is. Like you're going to have to understand. But you know, and that's again, cross that bridge when you get there. A good thing you care less on Faith. I will say on FaceTime though, he gets mesmerized with the phone because he'll just sit there and look at you. So he knows where the phone is. Like if he was doing this right now, I was holding him, he'd be looking right at y'all the whole time. So I'm like, he already knows, you know, what kind of it is. But
yeah, we fought that, like trying to decide about technology, and we had put on these sensory videos for Billy, and it would like keep her calm, and she'd watch it, and it'd still like get the kids like from a very young age to learn how to like track things. So they were really good, and she would like nod her head. And then as she started getting older, we put on like Disney Junior for her. And now she's like obsessed with Minnie Mouse. And we took her to Disney and she saw Minnie Mouse there and went bonkers. I mean, just crazy. And we walked away and she started crying. And I was like, oh, shit. So we walked back over and Minnie comes all the way up to her, makes her day. And then we walk away again and she starts to cry. And I was like, oh, God. Minnie, come on, get in the car. You're going to come home with us.
It was you have tough. To distract them with something else. You have to like, oh, look it over here.
For Pat and I, like our daughters love the water table. So we always get them out with the water table and they go crazy for it. And they're like splashing each other. That? You just said it's like they make all these different types of tables. Water. Yeah. And you like, it's got like all sorts of toys and not like you pour all the water in it and they're like dumping water on each other or whatever. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wait till that age.
Oh, I know. Y'all probably already stacking up on just all sorts of baby stuff. You don't even.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to tell my wife, all right, babe, please. We bought like 15 outfits this week. We just like.
It doesn't stop.
With the Target and the Amazon. No,
but I already
know, especially first time we don't have all that kind of stuff. I know that's going to be getting added up at some point for sure. It's probably hard not to when you see how excited they get about it. Like you want your kid happy, you know.
Yeah.
So of course you're going to get them something, especially if it keeps them active in the outside or whatever the toy is.
Yeah.
No, but that leads me into the next question about gadgets and things. I'm sure your wife had a baby shower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Was there anything that you guys got from the baby shower or something that you highly recommend for new dads out there? Like something that you guys can't live without, but something that's like super cool that you want to share?
Well, I would say one thing we got, it was on the baby registry. So it wasn't necessarily at our baby shower, but we got as a gift through the whole process was one of those little rockers. It's like it's a little seat you put him in, kind of hovers, levitates, and you can control. I don't know what those are called, right? But you can control how fast it goes, and it swings. Has little bears kind of hanging in front, but it's just like perfect to put him in if he feels like he needs to be moving around, but you got to do stuff. Just set him in there. Now he's getting to the point that he sees the bears and he kind of reaches for them, you know. But it's just like cute how you can just put him in a little rocker. He can just be in there hanging out for however long, and it also unhooks. So then you can take it with you, and it has little legs that kind of bounce, and you can like make a little rocking chair out of it too if you need to like move it around the house and you just want it plugged into the wall somewhere. But it's super convenient. It was a very, very good gift. Trying to think what else has been good. That's the one that is used every day, so that's a guarantee. But then also we have a Duna stroller, which you see everywhere. That
was mine. That's the one I always recommend.
Oh man, Duna actually sent one to me, which was an absolute blessing. It was great. Awesome. And that's perfect. It's especially for the size he is. I mean, he'll probably work for him. I don't know exactly the size, like 30 pounds or something. I don't know or if it's height based, 30 inches, something like that. But I mean, to be able to be a car seat, stroller, and just a regular like a carrier seat to have him in, it's just perfect. So that's another good one.
I would agree with both of your answers. The swing, Palmer killed it. She took naps in. If you have 10, 15 minutes that you just need to do something, like put her in there. It's also comforting knowing that she's not going to move or he's going to move. You know,
strap him in if you want to. We haven't done that. We'll normally just like maybe add a little extra blanket on it so it's a little softer, but just get a little sway going. He's just in there just hanging out.
It's like a little hammock for the kid.
Yeah.
So is your son sleeping through the night, or is he waking up?
He's not super consistent every night. Like my wife puts him down by like 7:30, and so he'll wake up. You know what I would still consider sleeping through the night at like 4 o'clock. 'Cause I mean that's still how many hours? That's like almost 9 hours.
Yeah.
3. Yeah, that's almost 9 hours. I mean, that's 4 o'clock. So what do you expect? You know, I don't know how long he's supposed to be sleeping, but if he wakes up at 4 o'clock, that's the one time and he's not waking up again until 8. It's like, yeah, it's not technically through the night, but I mean, he's getting some big stretches in there. But I know, like I got a text last night, or not last night, but this morning, I asked my wife, how'd you sleep? She said, well, he woke up 4 times and had a blowout the last time. And I was like, ooh. So it's inconsistent. He'll go most days where he does pretty good, wakes up once, like at 3 o'clock and then 7 or 8. But then they'll have those, every, maybe like once or twice every couple of weeks that he'll go and, 4 or 5 times and just for whatever reason be hungry, and he's growing. So I guess that he needs to eat, but obviously it's hard on her and she does such a good job. I mean, even I don't know how it was for y'all with y'all's wives or how they handled it, but my wife, I woke up the first probably week with her, and not even the full week, probably only 4 or 5 days, to try to like help her. And like I would be like, if she was changing a diaper, I'd fold up the diaper that she changed, set it to the side, and the wipe as well, and she'd nurse, and that was really all I could do, was basically the diaper duty, right?
Yeah.
But then it became, after about a week, she was like, hey, like, you don't need to wake up. I mean, could be a one-person job. It's only one baby that needs to be handled, and you can do one thing at a time. You can't change his diaper and feed him at the same time. So he's like, so I'd wake up with her and still try to support, rub her back, half asleep. And then it became, after a few days of doing that I just didn't even wake up. And but she just handles it every night like a champ. So it's been super nice for me. So it gets to the point, like I said, since I don't have to wake up, I don't even notice him crying to wake up. Just because I'm like used to like check it out, like block it out. I guess I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
I love how you made that transition. Though you went from waking up with her, super supportive, and then she made the comment like, you don't have to get up with me, but you still woke up, trying to support. And it was good that you didn't say like, oh yeah, he woke up like I had such a great night's sleep. Like,
oh yeah, I learned that.
I learned that lesson.
I am so well rested.
Wow, I feel phenomenal. Yeah, she's over here like zoned out. Like I don't even know what you said right now. I'm so tired.
Do you guys do any white noise or any music? I probably wear this white noise machine out. Like my dog, I'm afraid to take it away from her. Since she was born, like we literally had white noise and music.
Well, so he still sleeps in the bassinet next to our bed. Like Sydney's really waiting until he actually goes through the night every night to then go put him in a crib in his own room, because she doesn't have to get up and walk all the way down the hall to his room whenever. She can just like be right there. And it doesn't bother me. I don't wake up with him. Anyways. But yeah, we already sleep with a fan. So we have a fan that goes for the noise and air circulation. But then also we have the little kind of sound machine. I don't even know what it's called, but that's something we'll then transition to his room, because we use the sound. Well, actually, we still use both for naps. So I don't know. Whenever he transitions, that we'll need to have a fan in there and a sound machine, because that's what he's had. But the sound machine's been really close to him, so he's probably more distinctly heard that than the fan. But we'll probably try to just the sound machine. I don't know.
We basically leave our sound machine on 24/7. So like, if we're
really?
putting our daughter down for a nap, like it's just already on. I don't know why we don't turn it off, but like, it's always
ours
on.
is Bluetooth, so it's like you can press a button, it turns it on before we get up there, which is nice. Or you just like kind of like tap the top of it, like it's.
Yeah. You might have the same one I got. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of cylinder, but a little bit of a cone almost.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Again, I don't know any of the names of any of this stuff, but it's very functional. But yeah, we're all about both sound machine and fan.
I think for your parents, sound machine is definitely an important thing to have. You definitely
100% need that.
But he can sleep anywhere, like, because we do a bunch of stuff where we go out to eat or church or just be with family or friends and stuff, and he'll sleep while you're holding him, while he's in a little harness in the stroller. Like, he can sleep around anything. He almost sleeps better whenever there's a lot going on versus when it's quiet and then you accidentally make one little noise, then it'll wake him up. It's kind of crazy. It's impressive. It's nice, especially like I said with church, if he's, waking up and starts to get fussy, it's definitely nice if he just sleeps over there and just like the worship, message, everything. It's great.
I can't wait to see Paxton, dude, in the stands, because my wife Shelby, like, last season we had the earmuffs on my daughter, and it was so cool. Like, I could look up and see, and like at one point, like you said, like they're so mesmerized by everything, like anything new. Mm-hmm. And I think at some point, like they just get overstimulated and they just like crash. So like she was actually sleeping like in the stands. I don't know if you'll bring the baby to the games or whatnot, but man, it's really
you probably unless you're in a box, you probably got about 3 good games in you. And then it gets a little cold. You're gonna have the baby wrapped in a big old parka, or just say, you know what, I'm just gonna stay at the house and watch it. So I'm gonna let my wife make that decision. She's already, I would say, suffered through cold games. She's enjoyed it, but getting to the point after 3 years of
endured
in cold games, she's like, you know what, I might, when it starts getting warmer or colder, I might just stay back at the house.
No, that's probably smart. I mean, people don't think about that also. I mean, and the fact that Green Bay plays a lot of primetime games, so they're all at night, and it's even harder. So get your preseason games in. The preseason games, that'd be really cool. We only got
one home preseason game this year, so that's, might be the only warm one we get.
Yeah, the daytime games are easy. We brought Billy. We saw Pat play last season, and my wife wore Billy for the game, and she was up for the first through third quarter, and then fourth quarter out like a light. I mean, she was out. It was awesome.
That's awesome. Out there at Soldier Field?
No, we were in Cleveland for that one, so it was good.
Cleveland. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. Billy loved it.
That's awesome.
Hey, but we're going to go back to the Disney movies real quick, and we like to end on this. Knowing that you're a huge Disney fan, Josh is also like a huge Disney fanatic. I wouldn't even say fan, like he's obsessed with Disney. Like,
I love
his wife
Disney Plus. I mean, you probably got Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
I watch that by myself all the time. No shame.
No shame. But what movie are you really excited about to share with your son for the first time?
And it has to be Disney specific.
I want to go Disney. I mean, you could say whatever you want. It could be old school when he's of age. It could be Wedding Crashers,
Yeah.
Let's go Disney movie, because it's going to be relevant. It's going to be sooner than later.
Disney. Trying to think what comes to the top of my head. I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, but you think of like the old school, like original Disney movies, even like the princess movies, right? But like you got like all those old school classics. I think you got to start with those, and then of course like the little Mickey Mouse cartoons and things of that nature. I mean, it's hard because I feel like I really like all of them, but like obviously there's the stories like like Toy Story. Right, like that's an OG. I know it's
Classic.
not Disney. It's
I
like
love it.
Pixar, and
we'll go Pixar. You can go Pixar.
Yeah, but I mean, even like let's say Toy Story is a big one, but one I'm really excited about that's not either is Star Wars.
Yes,
bringing him on the Star Wars train. I
Yes.
love Star Wars. My wife could care less. Her and I are very different with what we like to watch. She is very about like regular like documentaries or reality TV shows, that kind of stuff. I'm all about like the science fiction, cartoon, all that kind of stuff. And so Star Wars is not her cup of tea. She's tried it maybe like for like 5 minutes. Was like, no. So I'm excited to have someone to watch Star Wars with me. So I'm going to instill him young. That's a big one. Big one. He's gonna be loving for sure. They got a lot of options now. That's for sure. A lot more than I had when I was a kid. And I'm sure I had.
Now I was waiting for Billy to be able to watch Hercules. That was my all-time favorite.
That's a good one. There's certain ones I don't think of. That's another OG one right there.
Yeah, that's like back to our childhood too. So that's a really good one there.
Yes, no. I'm trying to think because I haven't
Lion King
or 101 down. Oh, Lion King.
Lion
King. Yes, Lion King. That is, if I'm thinking old one, princess ones. Those are good. That's the first one I could think of.
Sleeping Beauty.
The older ones. Lion King though, yes, I remember that was probably one of the first movies I actually remember watching. I would say was Lion King, which is kind of crazy. That was back when I was like 4.
I agree though. It's a memorable movie as a kid.
It is. It is.
Yeah. The circle of life, man. Full circle.
Yeah, it is. Hakuna Matata.
It's awesome. I love that movie. Yes. I'm totally on the Star Wars train though with you. I got my wife into Star Wars at least, so she's not like crazy about it, but she's at least excited about the Obi-Wan show coming out. So
I know. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, now I got to get my daughter when she's a little older to see some Star Wars.
Yeah, I know. It's like, when do you start? When is it too young, or when is the right age to start Star Wars? It's like there's not like there's blood or anything, but it's like you're killing people. It's like, I don't know, should I be advocating and put this in his face, right now? But I think I'll just know when I know.
You will. You don't need to force anything; it'll come to you.
Yeah, it's gonna come for sure. That's for sure.
Ty, man, we appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Actually, not so much right now because you're probably home alone.
However, going on right now, I'm about to probably what time is it? Eat something else because that's the highlight of my day. And then aside from FaceTiming my wife and baby, of course, then just probably watch some TV show or watch some film. Watch some film. That's what I'm gonna do. It sounds more productive.
There we go.
Pro, love it. All right, man. I'll see you in the locker room tomorrow. But thanks for joining us on Locker Room Dads.
Of course. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It's good to meet you, Josh.
Yeah, you as well.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Bye.
Locker Room Dads is powered by Mantra Labs. After my buddy Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP, recommended this amazing new nutrition line to me, as a professional athlete, I had to listen to hear what he had to say. So let me tell you, Mantra Labs is an absolute game changer. For all you dads out there looking to have more energy, better hydration, and better sleep, look no further. Mantra Labs is the stop for you. So we've actually partnered with them, and they provide 25% off everything on their site. So go visit them at gomantralabs.com. Enter Locker Room Dads with no space for 25% checkout.